Hey, it's Ricky Carmichael, and you're watching the MotoXpod show.
What's up, you guys? Jeremy McGrath here. You are listening to MotoXpod show.
All right, it's time for a new Vital MX MotoXpod show presented by Boyesen and Race Tech. We have some good stuff to get into, including a little High Point national talk, maybe some World Supercross rumors, emails, and much more. Our guests tonight are Bar X Suzuki's Derek Drake and privateer Trevor Schmidt, who just got his career first points at High Point, riding for TPJ. Yeah, so we're going to talk about a lot of different topics. We're going to get into all the segments, as I said, but I got to mention our in-studio co-hosts first, working the cameras, working YouTube chat. As always, Scotty Thompson, what's going on?
Oh, not much, man. Just glad to be here, unlike the two of you guys.
What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. TJ, what's he talking about?
He's awful negative.
Yeah.
He's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, also in studio, most of you new listeners probably have never heard of this guy, never seen him before. My old co-host, TJ Smith, is back for one show.
Man, I had to show up because a guy last week dropped a, what do you call it, like a paid comment and then said everybody's name part of the show, that everybody was doing good, and left me off of it. And I was like,
not really part of the show when you're not here.
And it was like really sunk in. I'm like, I got to start making it in.
Yeah, it's been a long time since you've been here. So.
5 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, also on the phone, all the way from across the pond in the UK, my friend, Lewis Phillips.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just keeping on, Jamie. Just keeping on.
How's the UK?
There's a pulse.
How's the UK today?
It's my life's just very eventful this week. All I can say is I have a pulse. That's successful.
You did do a rather interesting, I find rather interesting podcast that'll be coming out next week.
I think I want to redo that podcast, but I feel like that would probably be quite inconvenient.
Okay, we'll talk about that. I interviewed Lewis so people can get to know his background, where he grew up, how he got into racing.
That'll be interesting.
It is interesting. It was an hour long. It was really good. But knowing Lewis the way I know Lewis, and you probably know Lewis, he thinks everything he does is bad, and it always could be better, so he wants to redo it.
I could see
it was an hour long, but it was we missed. I feel like we missed some kind of major stories, but I don't know. We'll figure it out.
But you could save those for your memoirs.
For the written version.
Well, they'll be coming out soon.
Well, we're going to get into this Boyesen discussion, and we're excited to spotlight Boyesen's factory racing rider support program, a comprehensive support system for motocross and off-road riders. Join the community of Boyesen Factory Flyers today by visiting boyesen.com to apply now. Lewis, we've only got you for the first 30 minutes, and then the rest of the guys in studio and I are going to continue on. So I want to touch on first, there was no MXGP this previous weekend, but we're going into Indonesia, and just the vibes I get, knowing very little, is this is one of the least favorite probably rounds, not a lot of entries. Tell us a little bit about Indonesia and why this isn't an esteemed round.
Well, first of all, it is a very, very, very far and difficult trip. So naturally, not everyone's going to go. In Front have done a good job of making it less expensive for the teams. Like, they have actually genuinely done a good job, so credit to them. But still, the entries are low. So, I think it's quite natural for, if you are a 16th place rider, you're like, shall I fly 27 hours to the other side of the world? No, I think I'll just stay home this weekend. So I think that's the issue with entries. Indonesia is just I wouldn't even be able to put it into words. It is beyond your wildest expectations.
In what way?
There are no rules. It's like going back 60 years to a place where there are no rules.
Well, we had a question last week during the show that the guys brought up and ML didn't have an answer for it, talking about the track?
Yeah, Lewis and I are going to do a podcast coming up.
Yeah.
Where I can ask like basically MXGP questions for dummies, people that don't know. That question about track prep is going to be in that.
Yeah. So
you can go ahead and answer it now if you want.
But my question was, like, I know, like Supercross, they use the same people building it. The local track, the moto, the people who own the track usually do the maintenance. How does that work over there when they're going country to country? Does some just random Ethiopian guy when they do the Ethiopian?
Whoa, wow, why is it got to be an Ethiopian guy?
No, I'm just saying.
You're going to Indonesia,
GP.
man.
No, okay, I'm sorry. I said the wrong country. Indonesian guy or whatever. Like,
We got this Chinese guy over there working the track. And
yeah, but I mean, is it just some random dude with like a skid steer out there building the track? How does this work?
Shovels.
No, I think the guy's name's Greg Atkins. He is kind of like in front's track builder. So obviously the track in Indonesia is purpose built. Like obviously Indonesia just don't have a GP level track sat there for the local riders. So he built it all, and like in front have a team that they would have. Well, this venue was on the track. Was on the schedule last year, but the year prior to that, in front have an inspection team, and they would have flown all the way there just to look at the land, check out the local hotels, look at the airport, and like make sure that everything is okay and MXGP worthy. So like, yeah, it's not just Indonesian man wants to run a GP. Okay, we'll see you on this date. Good luck. Make it good. We believe in you. Like it's a lot more intricate than that. Like even I've heard of some of the places they've gone to do like inspections for potential GPs, and some of them are places that are miles and miles and miles away, and they've got there and it's not been any good. And they've done 4 days of traveling for no reason. Like that kind of blew my mind when I learned that, because that's quite the commitment, I feel.
Yeah, Lewis. So, what kind of is the driving force on picking a place like that? Like, I mean, if it's going to be an area that the riders aren't really wanting to go to, it's expensive for the teams. Probably not going to have the turnout that other places would have. The field's going to be shorter. Like, what is the driving force? Just those countries wanting to be represented, or like who kind of pushes those politics?
The Indonesian government pays a lot of money to In Front to host a GP there. Like a lot of money.
Do
like
they
more
make
more money than you could even dream of. What, the Indonesian government?
Yeah, like how?
Like,
why?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the point?
It's just we're talking about Indonesia on this podcast. They'll love that.
I got you.
Like,
I got you.
That's kind of the idea, to get people talking about the country, talking about what they have to offer. Like, otherwise, what would we be talking about Indonesia for? We just wouldn't. It wouldn't be on our radars. So that's why it's just to boost. It's to boost tourism, but it's also to boost recognition and the country's image and the country's reputation.
So they approach the FIM or the MXGP series, and then go down the line and try to lobby for their place, and then like you said, they come out and check it out.
Yeah, we've been going to Indonesia since 2017, and off the top of my head, I think we've gone to 7 different tracks, because the Indonesian government is like, okay, this year we want this area to get the boost from tourism, and because obviously fans aren't traveling to Indonesia from Europe or America or anywhere, but with the riders, the teams, the mechanics, the in-front staff, that's still quite a boost for Indonesia. Like, their economy is very different to the rest of the world. You get a can of Coke for like 5 cents. It's very good. Really something special.
TJ's booking flights. He's about to move.
Actually, I've got 2 buddies that live in Thailand.
Yeah.
Because it's like that cheap.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really something special.
Lewis, there's been some pretty significant injuries. Obviously, Jeffrey Herlings in Germany. I don't know if you've got any updates on him. And then Kaida Wolf injured his ankle a couple rounds ago. Maxime Renault. What do you know about these guys? Herlings is going to be out for a while, it sounds like. How about the other guys?
Herlings, originally they said that Herlings was going to be out for the next 2 rounds in Indonesia, but he's now going to be out for the following 2 rounds as well, and probably the round after that, which sucks. As I've said many times, whenever I hear Jeffrey Herlings' injury news, I kind of feel sick to my stomach, because enough is enough for the poor man. Just He needs a break.
Yeah, I can't really argue that point. It seems like every time he'll have one good season and 2 or 3 injured.
Yeah, like okay, maybe I feel that way because I have a bit of I know him personally, but I don't think it's that. It's just I'm like again, like really, like he
Sure.
and serious. They're all serious injuries as well. Like okay, this neck injury isn't that serious, but he's been told that if he crashes again, say if he pushed it and tried to return too soon, if he crashes again, then it could be very serious. Like they've told him that basically it's okay, but don't rush it because it can very quickly not be okay. Maxime Renault will probably be out for the season, and Kai de Wolf is racing this weekend, but he should be fine or closer to fine.
Yeah, because he was just sort of surviving in Germany, I believe.
Yeah, he finished. I think he went 10-11, so
right.
It was okay for the situation, but he should at least be in the top 5 this weekend.
Sweet.
Yeah, Lewis, we had ML on last week, and it was kind of interesting that the week before we were talking with you and we're talking about how Prado can't just really play it safe at this point, and then now all of a sudden one day goes by and now that's the narrative.
Play it safe.
Just play it safe and get your podiums. And I don't know if there's anybody do you see anybody closing the gap and making it interesting, or can Prado just sail it in?
No, Prado is your champion. Because he's not a stupid Fendi rider, so he isn't going to make a mistake. He isn't going to get injured unless something completely out of the ordinary happens.
I mean,
he
even
rarely crashes.
If a bike goes out in one moto is I don't know really how tight.
If he has a DNF, you mean?
Yeah, one DNF, is he still good, or
he'll just go?
No, he's 67 points.
Yeah.
Ahead.
Yeah, okay.
He'll get 10 points for qualifying fastest and make up most of those points for the DNF. Yeah.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
But congrats to Prado. Good for him. He deserves it.
He needed one, right?
He is kind of forgotten about a little bit. He is a Hurlings, Roxon, Caroli level talent from Europe. So
like a Dylan championship. I think Dylan earned his championship.
Oh, Ferrandis.
Yeah, Ferrandis, and you can't take it away from him, but it wasn't the same thing as if everybody was there and healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Geyser coming back this round?
No,
no.
Lockett on July the 16th.
Okay, so a couple weeks I saw he's getting back on the bike is what I saw.
Yeah, he's been back on the bike for a while.
Oh,
also,
okay.
Speaking of these random countries, Geyser is obviously from Slovenia, which is a small country with not much going on. He held a press conference today with the national media to announce when he's returning to MXGP. That is how big a deal he is in his home country. All of the local news, or not the national newspapers, the national news stations, went to his house for a press conference to find out when he's coming back to racing.
Just the idea.
It is, isn't it?
Just
like
that
when
idea
you think
for Moto.
about, imagine that even happening in Texas. Imagine if Texas had the top Supercross rider.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't you wouldn't even get the Texas news stations there, let alone the countries.
Yeah, even our local, I live in a town of about 150,000 people, and even the local, there's 4 local stations. I don't think that they would pick that story up. Yeah. They sometimes do one on a local track, just to probably because the track reaches out to get promotion for the race, but it's not. That's crazy.
Before we move on to High Point and some topics I want to touch on real quick there, do we know what type of soil track conditions this Indonesian round will be? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, I was there last year, wasn't I?
Oh,
Come on, Jamie.
Okay.
Was it the same place?
I didn't know. I didn't know it was the same facility.
It's weird. It's a really cool track, but the soil is like volcanic ash. It's loamy and it's a little bit soft, but it doesn't really rut up, and it doesn't that was the problem last year. There were no lines, there were no ruts. It was just volcanic ash.
It just moves around.
It just doesn't develop because the layout and the soil looks amazing. And last year, everyone was like, "Cool, I can't believe that Indonesia have found a track like this." And then as the races went on, it was just kind of follow the leader because it was just riding a track with nothing really, no character, I guess you'd say.
Right. Well, it'd be interesting.
So,
I'm glad it's back. No American Pro National this weekend, so at least we'll have MXGPs to keep us occupied.
Well, you're going to have to wake up at 2 a.m. to watch it live.
I think I'm actually going to be riding somewhere that day, so I probably won't be getting up at 2 a.m. I'll have to watch it later that night, Lewis, on your account, because I never got one.
Yeah, I forgot I gave you my account.
Yeah, you did.
Honestly, I'm such a nice guy.
You are. People should be ashamed of themselves for saying anything negative about Lewis Phillips.
Yeah, I'm just a giver.
Hey, I want to also thank Racetech for being on board. Racetech is the world's largest aftermarket motorcycle suspension modification company. And they also have engine products, developing the best combination of porting, cam timing, mapping, and related components to build world-class engines is a painstaking process. Racetech has spent an impressive number of hours. Wait, look at me funny.
I thought you were going to make it all the way through, but never mind. You ruined
Dude,
it.
I saw you
got distracted.
You made a goofy look. Doing R&D on the flow bench, dyno, CNC, and the track to create the Racetech Power Plan. If you follow the Racetech Power Plan and assembled engine correctly, you can build an engine capable of competing with anything in the world. There you go, Scotty. Racetech.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Racetech.
So, okay, TJ making a little look will throw you off a read, but you like, what do you do in these press conferences when, when ML's throwing paper wads at you or whatever the heck goes on in those things?
Thankfully, it's very professional at these press conferences. Lewis can tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's top-notch organization.
Listen, we need to move on. We don't have Lewis for too much longer. Lewis, I want to talk about a guy that really gets very little publicity, a guy named Jet Lawrence.
Yeah.
I was hoping you were going to say a guy called Chase Sexton.
Well, we could talk about Chase in a moment, but there's a couple things that bother me with this Jet hype. But the first thing I want to touch on is his riding at High Point. There was a couple moments watching that race on TV, and I want to see if you guys agree, where I thought, oh shit, the bike just let go. He's going so slow. He's stopping, but yet he was going faster than anybody. Like some of the moments in his riding, I literally honestly thought he was about to stop, but he was gaining on everybody. It doesn't make any sense.
Dude, that track was absolutely insane. Like that was the reason for that kind of stuff.
That was why he looked like he was barely moving, but he was going so fast.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to be so smooth and fluid in those deep ruts like that. I mean, dude, he was probably in ruts like that.
Yeah, it's unreal.
But if the times that I was watching it, that I saw him go that slow was kind of when he was trying to fill out, and then he figured some stuff out. And then when he did those super fast laps, they didn't look like that. Like there was a middle of the race, or like the half of the first half, I guess you'd say, he was doing that, filling the track out, getting that, and then he dropped the hammer. And yes, he's smooth, but he looked.
I guess my point is, Lewis, is that it's amazing that he keeps winning all these races and looks so effortless.
Yeah, but do you honestly see that big a difference between Jet's style and Chase's style?
I feel like I did at High Point a little bit. Well, I don't know. Chase wasn't at High Point this weekend, so it's hard to compare on those exact conditions. When, like at Fox, no, they looked very similar. Their styles were pretty similar. There's a few things they do differently, but both look effortless.
Yeah, that's because I think that's an interesting comparison. Obviously, it doesn't really matter because well, it doesn't matter at all. Why does any of it matter? But
screw it. We're done, guys. Show's over.
But don't you need to ride the Honda that way? Let's be honest. Like the Honda is twitchy. You need to be like what's the word I'm looking for? Not dedicated, but you need to ride everything with purpose and smooth.
Right.
Because that bike will jump up and get you.
Well, it was just impressive. I honestly, no joking, no exaggeration, there's 2 or 3 moments where I thought he was about to pull off, and he just was actually just figuring things out. It was pretty amazing. The issue I have, I want to see if you guys agree, Lewis, I'm really sick of, as the 250 moto is wrapping up, a couple laps to go, every single week we get a shot of Jet standing under the Honda canopy watching the damn race. Yeah, we get it. Enough is enough.
No, I like that because I don't think it's done just to give Jet more love. I think it's like a development of the TV package where, look, we're showing you more than just the race. Because I obviously don't know, but I believe in other sports they do stuff like that and show, like, they don't just show the event, they show athletes getting ready and behind the scenes sort of stuff. Right?
Sure. No? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But they show multiple athletes, not just Jet Lawrence.
No, but I feel like that's okay. Yeah, maybe. But is that not just because there are so many injuries? Like if Chase Sexton or Eli Tomac was there,
they'd still be showing.
Would they not be showing them? Jet and others, or no?
I don't think so. But I'm just.
Dude, they were doing that in the Supercross when everybody was still there. Like Hunter would be, winning a race, and then they're showing Jet in the.
They're very Jet happy.
Yeah, they're showing Jet in section C28, row 2, and it's like, what? Like, watch the race. Yeah.
Well, I haven't. Y'all talked about it a little bit, brought it up, and I was saving this for the show. This weekend at work, watching the race, one of the guys was up there watching it with me, and he's like, "Wait, that's his brother in the other class?" Like it's somebody who wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
And so it kind of, I was like, yeah, I didn't think about saying it to the guy because we were talking about, dirt bike racing and whatnot, but that dude had no clue until the show brought it up. So it brought it to, the guy's not a new fan. He's not going to go watch it. He just happened to be watching it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like that is one of the reasons they do some of these things is for the new fan to try to draw them in. And I think us long-term watchers, fans kind of get like, well, yeah, we get it. We're over it. So maybe you're right. I don't know.
That's what kind of another thing that kind of upsets me. So you already have to buy the extra Peacock package to be able to watch the races live.
Okay.
It's like let's go ahead and just divide up the two worlds. Let's make one that has like a guy like Daniel Blair. I'm just using his example. I know that he's out of that, but let's use like some guys like that are dedicated diehard. Let's talk about suspension in the bikes and stuff, and not show the cutouts to Jet and all this other stuff. Like let's just in a more hardcore
So you
package.
want 2 TV programs, more trucks,
No, I
more
want-
people, more personnel.
I want just to be just two separate things, or you could use the same people.
But how are they going to show 2 things at one time?
Use the same cameras and everything. Just have you got B guys in the booth over here doing their own thing, and then there's the one that they use on like the CBS or an NBC or whatever they show it on.
But they would have to have 2 separate sections of production if they're showing us one thing and another.
No,
package,
just have different commentators on it.
That's more money.
I don't know. It's just an idea.
That's a dumb idea.
Okay, well,
Dead silence. I love it.
well, you were upset. I'm trying to alleviate your pain over here.
I'm just saying that it wasn't even worth commenting about.
Lewis, we're about to let you go. Before I do, I know you've done the post-race show with Michael Lindsay. I want to touch on something with RJ real quick. RJ Hampshire, through those rollers, many, many, many laps, very, very sketchy. Nothing totally new with RJ, but that was pretty intense watching him go through those rollers and just not being able to figure it out. I think it was in Moto 1 over and over and almost crashing. And then he had an inside line going down that hill that was very impressive. Like there was 2 sides to RJ, the sketchy side and then an impressive, find a different line side. But all in all, RJ is just exciting to watch.
Yeah, like if you were going to show someone who doesn't know the sport a rider, you would show them RJ instead of Jet. For sure.
Sure. Yeah. Watch this.
But like, I don't think if you put a lie detector test on him and said, honestly, do you know why you made those mistakes? I think he would say, no, I don't, and it would come back as he's saying the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think you watch it and it's not like he's doing anything particularly wrong. It just happened. I guess maybe it's to do with his body positioning. Maybe it's to do with how he shifts gears. I don't know, but I don't feel like he's doing anything drastically different to anyone else, which makes it odd. But then at this point, this is just RJ, so we can accept that now, and we can accept that, I guess. We have to.
Just exciting.
Do you think it's a deal where my brain just completely blank?
Awesome.
Trusting the front tire too much. They used to say that about
Chase?
No, the guy. He's now the team manager of Firepower.
Oh, Martin Davalos.
Yeah, Davalos, where Davalos was super fast, just trusting the front tire too much. Do you think it's the same thing with RJ? Like he's just pushing, just
hoping for the best.
Yeah, just a tad bit too much.
I don't know about trusting the front tire, but I think he is. I do agree with he is 110% effort at all times, whereas maybe sometimes 90% effort is actually faster, i.e. Jet.
Mm-hmm.
There is a perfect example.
You think that can be like we had the James Stewart who made a huge change to the sport where guys started scrubbing, started riding that way. And then I wonder if Jet is going to usher in another change to the sport to where guys are starting to be smoother and more deliberate.
Higher or lower RPM.
Yeah, lower RPMs, more deliberate is the way. That's the word I'm trying to think of.
I think that's just kind of in line with the evolution of the bike, just getting, Jet's just, RV was the first one to be a full 4-stroke guy from 250s to be that dominant. And then I think you're just seeing the evolutions of the bike, and then the riding style goes along with it, I think.
I kind of feel, maybe I'm wrong, Lewis, this would be a good question for you before we let you go, that Jet does have a little bit of a GP style where it's definitely more momentum, higher RPM, hopping over the bumps, and just not
Lower.
charging what.
Lower RPM.
I keep saying higher, but yes, lower RPM and just smoother. And it doesn't look like he's going as fast, but it takes maybe less energy.
Yeah, I would definitely say that is a European way of doing things. But then, to be honest, I was going to say that when you first brought this up. But then the reason I mentioned Chase is because I thought to myself, oh, Jet's doing it the European way, but then Chase does have a very similar style. So is it the European way? I don't know.
It may be the new way.
But it definitely is a European tendency to learn to ride like that. And I think you have to with the tracks in Europe because they are a lot more, what's the word? Not dangerous, but they can catch you out, I feel. A lot easier
unpredictable?
than the American tracks. Yes, unpredictable. That's the word.
There you go.
But no, on the subject of like a new wave of riders learning to ride like that, I'm not sure if you can learn to ride that way. I think you can learn to scrub, but I think it's a lot harder to learn to ride like Jet does or like Chase does because I don't know. I feel like that's more natural talent than anything. To be able to go slower and go faster, I feel like that is natural talent. Whereas scrubbing is kind of a physical action.
I'm sure that these coaches that are coaching the next generation are watching this and they're trying to figure out how do they get their riders to do that.
How to coach it.
I saw something. I think it was what's the guy's name that rode the Pastrana replica bike in the straight rhythm? He's a top 20 guy.
AJ Catanzaro?
Catanzaro, yeah. He was doing he was doing a riding school thing, and he was mentioning that how the Lawrence brothers do this, and I never thought of it. I was doing it wrong, but the position on the handlebars that they don't hold their thumbs onto the donut grips. They hold their arms at an angle, and it puts their elbows out more.
Oh yeah,
which I don't think that's that's not how you naturally ride a bike.
He rides with the Lawrences.
Yeah, so that makes sense that he knows that.
Schools.
Yeah.
Lewis, hey, we're gonna let you go. Thank you for coming on. You got anything else before you hang up?
No, I don't think so. That was a very quick 30 minutes, but thank you for having me, Jamie. I'm sorry to everyone listening because I'm sure the sound of my voice has been extremely painful and I have made this show incredibly worse.
No,
but the good news is there is now an hour and a half for it to pick up and get better. So
It is kind of funny, Lewis. Like when you're on the show, nobody says anything, but then the weeks that you're not, it's like that's when all the comments are made. So it's a bunch of
wait a minute,
bunch of keyboard warriors.
Are they?
I'm going to retire soon. So.
Yeah. Do they say negative things or positive things about?
It's like satirical comments about like the voices.
Lewis got a little blown up on Pulp the other night on the emails, and he's sensitive because first of all, he told like Lewis has talked about this. Like if it's something that he can work on, if it's constructive criticism and he can work on it, he's okay with that. But when somebody's like, "I hate your voice," that's just an asshole.
I hate your face.
That's
It's just
I like Lewis's voice.
I do too, and that's just somebody being an asshole. But Lewis is like, I can't fix that. So what do I do with that? And it bothers him. And people
on the MotoXpod exclusively, I hereby announce my retirement. So everyone's happy.
No,
there you go. It's your biggest exclusive ever, Jamie.
Thanks, Lewis. We don't want you to leave, so we'll have you back in a couple weeks.
Well, that's good. You're going to have to drag me out of retirement.
Fair enough. I keep back from retirement.
We'll talk off air, but thanks, Lewis, for your time, man.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Goodbye.
Bye. That's Lewis Phillips, everybody. Yeah, I didn't like those voicemails the other night. It's kind of like how they used to do me, and somebody would be like, I don't like Darkside because he's too nice. Well, that's just stupid. What am I supposed to do with that?
Him and Weege, two of my favorite personalities in our sport right now.
Yeah.
But I swear, every time he's on the phone, I just think of grown-up Ron Weasley. I just can't help it. I just can't.
Of Lewis.
Okay.
That's yeah.
Oh, Ken Roxon.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Surprisingly
7-2.
I kind of have.
What did you expect out of him?
I did not expect that. Like seriously, when I heard he was racing, I was like, oh, he's going to be kind of up front early. He's going to get a top 5. It's going to be awesome because, he is like really good with the fans, whether you like him, whether you don't, which I'm kind of indifferent to it, but he has got a good history of being like a fan favorite, a good personality. And I was really looking forward to a top 5 out of him. and wow, what a way to just like blow through the glass ceiling or whatever you want to call that, where people put him at.
Yeah, see,
He kicked right through it.
Yeah.
See, but no, honestly, like I wasn't.
Have you been holding on to that?
No, I just kidding.
Kicked right through it. I like it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I honestly like I was not surprised at all. Like
Really?
No, I mean that track was crazy. It was rutted. I mean, it's Kenny, dude. Like I mean, like I wasn't surprised at all. The thought that I had, the hot take that I had, was that when he got to behind Jet and like because he was real aggressive, like tight rope and ruts at the beginning, getting around those guys, super aggressive. He got behind Jet, and then you could tell that he wanted to try to push to see if he could catch him. And I think he kind of had a little bit of an epiphany, or maybe not an epiphany, but just a realization of what kind of Jet was doing, and that how Jet was just riding real smooth and taking outside lines and just kind of basing the gap that he had. And I think Kenny realized, he's like, all right, I can ride like kind of relaxed and smooth, and if I just put a little bit extra effort that Jet's not doing, I'm going to catch him. And he started to reel him in.
Yeah, it was
and then all
awesome.
of a sudden Jet made a mistake. And so I think early on, Kenny realized what Jet was doing, adapted, and not surprised to me. I know didn't surprise me one bit.
Well, we'll talk about Kenny a little bit more. We got our first guest of the night on. He's brought to you by Guts Racing. Andy Gregg and the Guts Racing crew have been providing the best seat and foam in the industry for years. For 2023, they've added Kawasaki to their complete seat lineup, as well as the color teal to the gripper material options available. They are the best seats in the business. I never put one on the Husky just because it wasn't my bike. I never asked for one, and I really was noticing it when I was at Texas Tornado with Van Martin. I was sliding all over the seat, and it really hit me, man, I need one of those gripper seat covers. So, guys, visit gutsracing.com. Order you a seat today. They're very quick turnaround to get you hooked up. Tonight, Guts Racing brings us from Bar X Suzuki, Derek Drake. What's up, Derek?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Not much, man. How you been? Are you out training today, or are you taking a few days off with this off week to kind of recover?
No, we were out riding today, just going as usual.
Yeah, so no time off as usual. You get maybe a couple weeks off at the end of the season, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. Hopefully, my goal is to make it into the SMX playoffs, so and the 450 side. So that should be good.
So what are you working on this week? Is there anything in particular? Are you still kind of trying to find some bike setup you're happy with? Are you working on starts? What's the primary focus this week?
For sure, starts. 'Cause my starts have not been Lakewood. I had pretty good starts, but other than that, they have not been too hot.
What is it? Is it setup though, or is it technique for the starts?
A little bit of both. For sure, technique wise, like we're just working on on the 450. You don't need as much RPMs, like revving it before the gate. So I kind of like fall back to my old habit. So I've been working on like lowering the revs a little bit, and that seems to help out a ton.
So I guess it being with the greats being new to moto, but we used them all year in Supercross. Is there really much change, like as far as like a motocross start with a great versus a Supercross start with a great?
No, I mean the only difference is that motocross is a lot easier to set the whole shot device, but that's about it.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
Yeah.
I had a kind of a question similar to the starts as well. So you're getting in that kind of top 10ish area gate pick, and like that's got to be kind of a situation where it's like, okay, it's good enough to where I can get a good gate pick and like go for the whole shot, but it's like you're also not getting quite like the prestige pick as well. With the metal grace and everybody's got a fair start, have you noticed that the starts are kind of more sketchy than maybe you've experienced in the past, and are like how tight is the old sphincter muscle going into the first corner?
I mean, for me, I've been mid-pack kind of, so that's kind of the worst spot to be. But also, I feel the 450 class is a lot different. Usually in the 250 class, they're just like absolutely sending it and not scared to crash. 450 class is a little bit more laid back on the starts. So that helps for sure, just kind of cut through the pack a little bit. But as you said, like being inside the top 10 from qualifying and all that, you can pretty much whole shot. If you're inside the top 10 gate pick, you have a pretty good chance you can pick a gate that you can whole shot from. So it's not like, you're way outside the box or way inside. You're pretty much in the same general area.
You're currently 9th in points, and you're riding really well. Unfortunately, you've had some mechanical issues. I think you've had 2 weekends of brake issues and then a clutch this weekend.
Yeah. The only round I got through safe was Hangtown.
Yeah, it's got to be super frustrating. And look, Bar X is not a factory team. There's a limited budget. How constricted or what's the word? Confined are you on changing things, maybe upgrading the clutch, trying to do something different to improve? Is that something you guys have the capabilities of doing, or is it you're kind of stuck with what you have?
Yeah, no, we for sure can do anything. We've tried a bunch of stuff with the brake and all that. And what we went back to this last weekend, I get a round where I don't have a rear brake issue, and I have another issue.
Right.
But no, we just went back to stock, everything stock, rear brake, and that seemed to work. So, and then my clutch issue was like a freak deal. Like my handguard got, caught into like my clutch perch with like those deep ruts. My knee maybe have hit it or something I don't know. It somehow got jammed into like my clutch perch. So it wouldn't release all the way. So just slipping really, really bad. And it was all bent up in there. So it was super hard to pull in. So yeah, just slip. I had nothing to do. Yeah,
because you would probably be a couple of positions higher in the points.
Yeah.
Obviously you would be without those mechanicals. And you might be, 7th, 6th or 7th. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little bit bummer, especially the first moto at Lakewood. I was running 4th with, a little time to go. And then this weekend, the second moto, I got up to I think 7th or something. And I was going to settle in right there, maybe push towards AP or whatever, and then that happened. So
yeah,
it's been a little frustrating, but I think we got all situated out now where we should be in the clear for the rest of the rounds.
So this year, a lot of guys have moved into that 450 class because of we'll call it like Elizabeth opened up a little bit with a lot of guys injured. Do you see yourself or even other riders like doing good this year, which y'all are, staying in the 450? Is this or is it like, hey, I'm going to do what I'm going to do here and then go back to the 250 when we have some of the factory guys back? Or is this like, I'm doing good and I want to stay here?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to both. It's just whatever is the, right thing to do at the time. But I would love to do 450 summer again, or who knows where this may lead. But I'm open to anything. Just whatever fits right at the moment.
Yeah, I had a very similar question to that. Is where do you think that you would be in the 250 class right now, and does it surprise you that more guys aren't doing what like you and Masterpool and Marchbanks are doing?
Mm-hmm. The 250 class is super ultra competitive. And as it always, really has been. But, I would like to say I'd be inside the top 10 in 250 class also. But, for them, some guys to move up, we might see more. Has Marchbank success and Masterpool success. So who knows? We might see some more pop up in a couple rounds or so.
Yeah, Barsha did that in 2010 or 11 or so.
I think with Dungey,
yeah, because he had put himself in a situation where he was out of the points, and it was like Tomac and Wilson and Kennard and a lot of those guys, and he went ahead and moved up, and then all of a sudden he was getting second and thirds behind Poto and Dungey. So yeah, that's definitely seen before. I wonder if a more established guy like that, like as a factory ride, will do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jeremy Martin.
No, I think he's trying to put his arm back on.
Yeah, back together.
Yeah.
I think when he comes back.
I thought you had a response to that. With the Suzuki, we know what the keyboard warriors say. We know what the criticisms are, but then we also see Kenny go out and run jet down. We see him win a supercross race. The bike is capable of winning. He had the Kickstarter is a bit of a disappointment at times and can be when it gets hot, it's obviously a disadvantage.
Yep.
But overall, how comfortable are you on the Suzuki? Do you feel like you're capable of a podium on that bike?
Yeah, I would say so for sure. The 450 bike I feel is a lot more competitive. They're both competitive, but the 450 bike, it's not so much about power or anything like that. As long as you got that thing set up right, it's just as good as any bike. So the 250 class is just so competitive with the star bikes and all the top factory bikes. So Power is not really an issue in the 450 class, so I think that's why it's a little bit easy to run up front. So I just need to put myself up front, and we should have a good finish here.
Yeah, so I always grew up as a two-stroke guy, and when I started riding four strokes, and I still am bad. Like I was really bad about stalling the bike, and I know that if you're riding correctly and you guys are in shape and y'all are doing technique-wise, y'all aren't really having that issue of stalling as much. But like we just mentioned, the Suzuki is a great bike, but it does have the Kickstarter. And do you have to, has your riding like consciously changed to like make sure that like, all right, the one thing that I cannot do is stall this bike because I'm just going to lose too many positions. We saw Ken lose a lot because he went down and couldn't get the bike started. Are you having to think of that at all, or is it just business as usual?
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, it's just business as usual. Once the gate drops, I mean, you don't want to fall regardless. So, or stall it anyway, anytime. So, it's just business as usual. It doesn't run through my mind at all. But when you do fall over, it definitely, sucks.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, but no, it doesn't run through my mind. I don't think about it. So
that's good.
It's business as usual.
Have you tested or considered Recluse, and would that help any?
No, I haven't tried a Recluse. So, I mean, maybe it will. I mean,
I don't even know if that's an option. Yeah, I don't know if that's even an option.
Yeah, can they do that?
They're hinting.
Oh, well, there you go then.
Well, I mean, can they run the fully auto Recluse?
You can, yes, but I think y'all's team is sponsored by Henson, isn't it?
Yeah, we're backed by Henson.
Yeah.
Well, either way, I have one on my KTM, and I've noticed that I like it because I'm an average Joe guy, and it just makes it a lot smoother. But I've noticed with real fast guys, especially in your scenario, that it does lose a little bit of that bite and that pop in the like in a deep rut and stuff. So I honestly don't even think that you would enjoy it, honestly.
So I have two real quick questions for you. I'm sorry.
Let him not answer mine. Let's go right ahead.
It wasn't a question. You were just telling how awesome you are. No, just real quick. So first question was, do you have much time with the 450 before this?
No, I mean, it was really a last minute deal. I was, preparing as usual 250 outdoors, and, we're having some struggles with some stuff on the 250 bike, and I started riding my 450 here during the week, and I'm like, this, the field looking how it is and everything what's going on, I'm like, might as well give this thing a shot. So we've committed to it probably about 2 weeks before the opener.
Well, that brings me to my question is, what is there something that you don't like about the 450 or something that really caught you off guard you weren't expecting with the 450?
I think it's all positive. There's nothing that I really don't like about it that from the 250, the Suzuki 250. Yeah. It's been all positive change. And just tweaking here with suspension, and I think it's really good. Yeah, so he wasn't like surprised by anything on it either, huh? Just it was comfortable. No, it was solid. Yep, right away.
Hey, Derek, I want to ask you, coming out of Loretta's, out of your amateur career, it was very successful. You won 3 championships in the last 2 years at Loretta's, and sometimes it doesn't translate quite as quickly as you would like or had hoped when you get into pros. Are there any lessons you've learned in that time since 2018, or anything that still just kind of surprises you and you weren't expecting?
I think it was the main deal. I wish I had my my health figured out before I went pro. I mean, the whole heart procedures I had, I mean, I really put a damper on things, but I'm finally getting to where I'm like my head's above water now, and I can, train properly and do the things I want.
Yeah, kind of remind everybody what happened. I think it was 21. You realized you were overtraining, ended up having a couple heart surgeries. Kind of remind everybody that story.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, like as soon as I turned pro in 2019, I was like, dude, I'm just out of shape. Like, I went pro in the outdoors. I couldn't make it through 2 motos. I'm like, I'm out of shape. All right. So then 2020, we hooked up with Eldon, and I did this whole deal. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm not seeing any progress. Like, I'm doing everything that, Osborne's doing there in 2020, when he was winning the title, and everything that, everything everyone's doing. I'm like, I'm just dying. So, I obviously wear like a heart rate when I ride and all that stuff. I'm like, my heart rate's getting up to the 2 teens on race day.
Jeez.
And, we're like, dude, like, we tried some beta blockers to calm it down, but that only masked it. And then, I went ahead, like, then I had no ride at TLD. So like, now it's time to, cause like during TLD, like I should have just stepped back when I knew something was wrong and got situated then, but it was my last chance. So I raced every weekend and was super depleted. And then, once I lost a ride, I figured I broke my femur actually. And then like right away, and then figured out my health stuff. I had 2 ablations done to my heart to knock my heart rate down to where it should be. So like now my max is, right around the 180 range. So it's just been taking a long time to get my fitness back. Well, I never really had fitness in the first place. So I got away with it in the amateurs because, we have those 5 major nationals a year and we race maybe, once or twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and I just got by, during the week. I just rode and thought I was training, but, wasn't really making and I was, doing good. So there's nothing wrong. So, so here we are now.
Do you remember any moments when you were an amateur that now you look back and go, oh, no wonder I felt that way? Or was it you did feel okay because you weren't riding as much or racing as much?
It was kind of, I knew my heart rate was high compared to all my, friends that I trained with and stuff. Like, I just have a high heart rate and it wasn't like I was sucking, I was still, I was doing good. So I thought nothing was wrong. It was just going to carry it, carry into the pros. But as soon as I was getting my butt whipped every single weekend, we were really digging for answers and why this is happening. Cause like my speed, on the practice days and was fine. I mean, there's no reason why I didn't show up to the weekends and, be in the top 5 inside, even in the top 10. I was just maybe have a good first moto. And then like, I remember, Loretta's in 2020 or 2020. Yeah. 2020. I got like 6th or 7th first moto, and I was just like, my tongue was in the spoke.
Yeah.
And showing up for a second moto on the sight lap, I'm like riding a sight lap for the second moto. I was just like, oh my God, like I can't even ride. Like, and then the gate dropped. I just had 1 lap in me, and I just putted around.
Yeah.
That was the pro race at Loretta's, right?
Pro race.
Yeah. Pro race. Yeah.
And I'm glad you figured it out and went and had the surgeries. Are you noticing? Is it still a little bit of a struggle that you're working on, or do you feel like how close to 100% do you feel like at high point and going into Redbud in 2 weeks?
Yeah, right now is the best I felt. Even, the past 2 years, I have not felt that good. I was still, getting tired on the weekends and still trying to figure it all out. But finally, I think this summer is coming around, and I felt the strongest I have been during the week and on the weekends too. It's not like I'm leaving a national with, can barely roll my suitcase around. So I still have some energy at the end of the day, and everything's been going good.
Nice.
So your skill obviously is like got you through the amateur, like you were saying, where you didn't have to rely on fitness and stuff as much. And Supercross, as a layman, as somebody who doesn't ride Supercross, it doesn't seem like the fitness would make such an effect on that. How did the heart condition hold you back with Supercross, or am I just retarded and don't realize how much?
We don't use that word.
How much the fitness counts for Supercross?
Definitely it counts for Supercross. I mean, even my TLD year on 250s, I was getting 8s and 9s every weekend. But come main event, I was like the last 4 or 5 laps, I was really huffing and puffing, and so it definitely still counts. It's for sure better. It was for sure better this year, but didn't have the results I wanted to. So looking for next year.
Derek Drake tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing.
Yeah, Derek, don't listen to TJ. TJ forgets that we're not doing this in front of like 200 people anymore, that we get like
300.
Yeah. Anyways, so what I wanted to, earlier you talked about the SMX, trying to get into the points for that. And I just was curious to know what you guys thought about, like when you heard the news of what they were going to do for that and the payout and stuff like that. Was it kind of like, oh man, if I get there, that would kind of be a good payout, or was it like, oh crap, I have to do that, like that is something that I have to make because it's just too good to pass up?
Yeah, looking at the the purse now, I mean, it's too good to pass up for sure. But I committed to 450s. I didn't know, I wasn't dead set on making it, or, I wasn't really worrying about that. But now I'm, we're 4 rounds in and looking at the points and stuff. So it's a real possibility. And now, I mean, it's, if I don't make it, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I can imagine. We got one more for you before we let you go.
Well, I can't find it. I was going to show the other guys here. A little while back, we were at Daytona. This is totally random, but the group of people that you were with that were there watching you race at Daytona, I believe it may have been your girlfriend. I'm not sure who was there at the time. She posted a picture on her Instagram with me and a buddy in the background photobombing her. And she took the picture like 4 times, and we kept doing it every time, and she would get mad. And then you can tell in the picture she tried to like darken us out.
Yeah.
What an a-hole.
That's funny. Yeah, I'll have to ask her. We'll see what's up with that.
Yeah, exactly. We just kept doing it, and she was like, you can see her get mad, take the photo again, and I was like,
you're just a jerk. Was that your?
That was it. That's just one, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was the highlight of my weekend at Daytona.
Well, Derek, man, I really like seeing these better results, man. These improved results out of you. We've known you had the talent. You've just been dealing with a lot of adversity. I hope to see you at Redbud, man. Let's go 8-9 or 7-8 or something like that. Let's get it done, man.
For sure. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Derek. Thanks for your time tonight. Good luck, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right. That's Derek Drake, Bar X Suzuki's own Derek Drake, brought to you tonight by Guts Racing. Man, he's getting better. He's one of those guys that you start to worry, like, you don't want to say a bust, but is he going to live up to the hype, the potential that we saw from his amateur career? And I think he has more potential than what we've seen. It's coming along. The health issues, that's pretty significant. Having heart issues and having he said 2 teens, so 215, 213. That's.
I don't know why I didn't ask. I didn't think about it, but what did they have to do to his heart to make it not? What's an ablation?
There's a couple surgeries, and I was reading about it. I could
just make the blood flow better, basically.
There's
layman's terms.
Some health website actually did an interview with them, and they go into pretty good detail on what they did. It was over my head, but yeah, you can check it out. Just Google Derek Drake heart surgery or heart issues, and it came up. So yeah, I don't know the details, but they definitely had to go in twice, because I guess the first time they're trying to, as I read, reset the electrical pulses or whatever of his heartbeat, and the first time it worked for a little bit, and then it went back to high, so they had to go in and do it again, and that time it held.
Okay,
that's if I'm understanding right, and that's a very dummied down version of it, but yeah, I think he still has a lot of potential. Nothing against Bar X Suzuki, but I think he has the ability, if he could put some good results in, to maybe bump up in his team status, in a year or two, if we can see some better Supercross results out of him. I feel it's there. We just haven't seen it yet.
When did the heart surgery and stuff take place?
I believe that was 21, so 21? A couple years ago, yeah.
Yeah, because
because then he said he broke his femur too.
Yeah, then he was. It's pretty much up until now, I guess.
Right, and then now he's having mechanical issues, so we really haven't seen.
Well, that's the point I was going to make. Is Hunter Lawrence went through a similar thing where he realized that there was a certain food. I don't know if it was an allergy or just a way.
I think it was
some kind of food allergy or something that was messing up his diet, not allowing him to train correctly and stuff. And then once he figured that out, it took another year or so before he finally started getting the results from being able to train properly. So maybe Derek's kind of going through a very similar thing to where now that once, it sucks that as soon as he got his heart fixed, the leg broke, but now it seems like he's going to have some opportunities to kind of better himself and show his capabilities.
So.
Yeah.
And this year is kind of a gift in a way, with him being able to move to the 450 class and have a good showing. It'll maybe open up someone's eyes going, oh, he's doing good.
Right. Even though, yes, the series is a little light on 450 riders right now, you're seeing that he has the potential. You're seeing he has the speed. When he's not having mechanical issues, he's riding really well, getting good results.
You think that the riders take offense when we say that?
What?
Like, hey, yeah, you're doing really good in the 450. I mean, nobody's there. We don't mean it like that.
Yes and no. They probably do go, well, you still have to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, if Ken Roxon's there every week and Eli Tomac's there every week and Chase Sexton's there, they're smart enough to know. Yeah, they're smart enough. Malcolm Stewart.
Yeah.
There's another one. Christian Craig.
Yeah.
They're smart enough to realize that, okay, that's a lot of positions that I have to fight for. Now, am I saying Derek Drake cannot compete with those guys? No, we just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that maybe down the road he can.
I hope they don't take it that way because I think
they understand.
At least from me, I mean, he's a jerk, and he probably means it.
Well,
that way,
you said a bad word.
That's not a bad word.
Yeah, you had a couple of social faux pas tonight.
Stop acting like an idiot. You're the idiot.
Well, idiot is a social faux pas. I am like very, very what's the word I'm looking for?
Woke.
Yep. You can't say idiot.
I'm not woke right now at all.
No,
I'm
dude,
pretty tired.
he's asleep, man.
Before we get Trevor Schmidt on, well, I'm going to call him in a second. I want to go back to Ken Roczen for just a moment. He's going to be at more of these now, more than expected. The World Supercross schedule's changing. I heard the round in France, I think, is going to get canceled and probably won't be rescheduled. That's not good for that series. But it sounds like Kenny will be at some more races. Can we see Kenny, with the same results we saw at High Point, go out, compete when Chase comes back with those two guys, maybe get a win? Do we see this a few more rounds, or do you think it was just the conditions at High Point, TJ?
I think that.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that it's yes, he can go out there and battle. I don't think that he can win.
Right.
Like straight up, sorry.
I know I'm interrupting you, but I want to go back earlier when I said how surprised I was. Part of that was health reasons, right? We've seen him
that's what I mean.
fall off in the past, and he didn't really do that at High Point. So I wonder if maybe he's just in a better place physically. Maybe things are coming around. Who knows?
Yeah. I think I just don't think it's going to be possible for him to come out to win.
Okay.
And I really don't want him to win. I really want to see Jet do the 22-0.
Really?
Yes.
Scotty?
I'm not a Jet fan, but I just think that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scotty?
There's definitely.
Before we get Trevor's on the line, but go ahead and give your answer, and then we'll get to Trevor.
Well, I think that. Well, first of all, is Kenny coming to? Is he going to see doing Redbud, or is he just random rounds?
I don't think he's doing Redbud.
Okay.
No, I think he's missing Redbud.
My curiosity was: is he? After his results this week, he's like, you know what? I think I'm actually going to do a few more of these. That's
he's going to do the ones he can.
Yeah. Well, I know, but doing this one was kind of a fun Father's Day. He made the joke about, his son saying, I want to go racing. And then that was, one choice. But then now seeing his result, is that kind of, is it just in lieu with the fact that the SM or the World Supercross is going to have less races? Yes. And it just kind of happened and just timing is coincidental,
because he did say now I think I'm going to be at more of these. So because of that,
well, but I want to know how much of that was
it's the schedule. It has to be because he's contracted to be at World Supercross.
No, I get that.
That's why. But we need to get to Trevor.
Yeah,
we'll get back to it. FXR is designed by racers for racers with industry-leading fit, finish, and performance. Progression is the name of the game with every new piece created. At FXR, we push our brand to the next level to provide you with the best products possible. So visit fxrracing.com to see all the numerous gear lines and colorways. Tonight, FXR brings us privateer Trevor Schmidt. What's up, Trevor?
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. Hey, man, are you on Bluetooth headphones or anything? Because it's got a pretty bad sound.
I'm in headphones right now.
Do you mind disconnecting those?
Yeah.
Yeah, Trevor got his first points at High Point. He's done.
Is that better?
It's a little bit better. Yeah, that's a little better. Yeah, Trevor, so let's get to know you a little bit, but I was just telling the guys, man, you got your first career points at High Point. Okay. First career points, guys. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to mute you for just a second.
It's just like getting chased by a starfighter.
Okay, you're there. You're there now?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, so yeah, I was telling the guys about your first career points at High Point this weekend. How did that feel, man?
Yeah, it was definitely cool for sure, especially on Father's Day with my dad there. And I don't know, I feel like I rode pretty decent in the morning, just considering the mud and stuff. But the motos, I had a good start in Moto 1, and then pretty much rode the whole race hard. Didn't really get tired or anything, and finished pretty strong. So.
Yeah, do you favor those type of conditions? Do you like the mud and the ruts? You're from Rochester, New York, as I believe. So, yeah, is that something that you're comfortable with?
Yeah, I love the technical tracks, like the ruts and the mud. I love the mud. So, I feel like these tracks that are more technical suit my riding style better. So,
tell us a little bit about yourself, though, because we don't know you. You are a privateer, and I want to get to know you guys. Some of our fans or our listeners are really interested in the privateers. again, Rochester, New York. How'd you grow up racing? What got you involved in it?
Yeah, my dad, he raced when he was growing up, all the way up until probably 2015 or so. So he got me into it when I was 3 years old. And then when I was 4, I started racing. And then 2009, I kind of got serious and went to Loretta's and started falling in love with it from there. Okay. And then I went to public school all the way till I graduated. So I didn't ever go to like a training facility or anything. I just rode a few times during the week and then raced on the weekends. And then finally got my pro license and took it from there pretty much.
And were you a kid that showed up at most of the local tracks and the local races and the money races in your area and usually would win or be podium at least?
Yeah, for sure. I hit every local. I raced every single weekend local.
So this weekend, you get your first points in Moto 1. Was there, like, in Moto 2, you missed it by 2 spots? Did, was there, like, a ridiculous amount of celebrating after Moto 1 and it hurt Moto 2, or just kind of how the cards fell this weekend?
I was definitely excited after Moto 1 for sure, but I worked pretty hard this winter, and I was kind of due for a good result. Yeah. And then Moto 2, I was going to try to do it again, and I just didn't get off to the greatest start, but I plugged away the whole moto, just ran out of time.
Yeah, 22nd. So that's kind of like, right? Isn't that what you got second moto was 22nd?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like almost there. Just,
so close. Yeah.
Right.
But hey, from now on, your name is going to be in the Racer X vault as a pro rider with points.
Hell yeah, it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very congrats on that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, similar, kind of similar topic. The fact that you got your first points, and then I saw a picture of you. You were lined up next to Kenny. That just some real surreal moments from this weekend when you were able to get back at the house. How kind of was the afterthoughts of just what you were able to accomplish and all those little moments like that made up the weekend?
Yeah, I got home and I went to sleep right when I got home. I got home pretty late, and then Sunday. Sunday was Father's Day, so we kind of just hung out, just hung out and talked about the weekend because it went pretty good. So,
yeah, you mentioned your dad being there. Your dad is also your mechanic. He's going to the races with you, helping you out. That's got to be a lot of fun to share this with your dad, who used to race, probably has a very similar passion for the sport.
Yeah, for sure. He's never missed a race, and he's the only one I really trust working on my bikes because he always has them top notch, ready to go.
How difficult is that for you as a privateer? Because you've gone to all the races this year, correct?
Yeah.
So that's got to be difficult. It's got to be expensive. How many bikes do you have? What's your process? What's your program like to get you to all these rounds?
It's definitely tough for sure, but this spring I kind of went to I went to Florida for 3 weeks and kind of did my own thing with a few of my buddies and just trained pretty hard. And then I ended up buying a van and driving to California with my sister's boyfriend, and we got an Airbnb and stuff. But I worked full time all summer with my uncle doing landscaping, so I had to take 3 weeks off of that. And I kind of saved up all winter just to be able to do all the rounds and give it my best shot.
That's dedication, man. I like it.
Supercross?
No Supercross.
No. I was just going to ask if you did you ride Supercross this year? Any of them?
No, I didn't ride Supercross. I plow snow in the winter, so it's kind of hard for me to not work and go racing. But I'd love to try it for sure.
Yeah, we don't know. We're in East Texas. We don't know anything about snow plowing.
Well, we've had some ice storms.
Yeah, but not where it's a full-time job.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When you said that, I thought maybe I wasn't going to say anything because I've been called an idiot a couple of times on this show.
You are an idiot.
And so I didn't want to sound like an idiot and be like, wait, people get paid to plow snow?
Yeah.
Like is that like you work for like the city or something?
No, my uncle owns a property maintenance company, so we plow like just residential driveways.
Huh.
Dude, if you were down here and saw how we act when a snowstorm happens, dude, you would laugh.
It's barely even snow.
Dude, yeah, school's closed down.
Slush.
Nobody goes anywhere. Like
No bread
you would,
left on the shelves.
There's like a threat of slush and the school shut down.
They should live stream East Texas
God,
going
so
through
bad.
snow, and people in New York would pay money to see it because y'all would just laugh us.
Yeah.
Laugh. Yeah. And
Okay.
Yeah, I was just kind of making a laugh
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a moment.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
So we just talked about your program a little bit. I saw that you were on a KTM, and I know that KTM's are a solid bike for privateers because they perform well, and all that kind of stuff. But their contingency program, Kevin Ranch has been vocal about it being low, and there's other brands like Cowie and others that have more of a contingency program. Has that gone into your thought at all about changing your bike or what you wanted to choose to ride on, or kind of take us through what made you go with the KTM?
Yeah, so a little bit. I was on KTM's since like 125s, and I grew up riding Kawasaki, so I'm comfortable with the bikes and stuff. So last spring, I actually switched to Kawasaki, and I was going to do 250, and I rode the bikes for probably maybe a month, and I couldn't keep them together, and it was just pretty expensive to get a competitive 250. So we kind of just switched back over to KTM just because they're just ready to race pretty much. My race bike now only has a pipe and suspension, and that's all I use. So
You were on 250s for the first couple rounds, right? You were one of the guys that decided to move up?
The first round I was on 250, and I realized my bike really doesn't compete with some of the top guys. So
Yeah.
I felt like I'm better off doing 450. It fits me a little better, and I enjoy riding the 450.
Yeah, I get that. I've got a son who's trying kind of the same program with you, where we do our best trying to get him to the races, and he rides the 250, and the amount of time and money in that motor is like it hurts my feelings every time I look at the bike.
Yeah, it's not even worth it doing a motor every 5 hours.
I've been trying to talk him this year. Just get a 450 for next year. Let's just
Right.
throw some pipe and suspension at it. You'll be fine.
Right.
Trevor, I just got a couple more questions for you. Growing up in the New York area, were there any local guys that you looked up to? I don't know what your age difference is in, like, say, a Justin Cooper or Phil Nicoletti, but, any New York guys that were kind of like, I want to follow that career path if possible?
Yeah, definitely. Matt Babbitt was a local pro from our area, also RJ Beck. And it was cool because my dad raced against him growing up, like when I was growing up, and it was just cool to see them out there at like Unadilla when I'd go to watch, and I just wanted to be like them when I grew up.
And do you feel like you got your first points, so you're living the dream. Do you feel like fulfilled a little bit? Do you feel like this is what you wanted?
Yeah, definitely. Getting points really makes me love to do it even more just because the hard work.
Yeah.
It makes the hard work just pay off, and I just like doing good.
That's so great, man. It's cool seeing a guy like yourself without a lot of, support, just working your butt off, man, working a day job, plowing snow and going out and getting points, man. It's awesome, dude. That's moto. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ted Parks kind of gets he gets a lot of he kind of gets under the radar some. I mean, he gets mentioned a lot, but like, dude, that dude has really changed the backbone of this sport, and it's like he's given it one, honestly.
Dude, there's a great article on Vital MX about Ted Parks. Just
well, you're welcome for bringing that up so that you could plug your article. I got you.
Yep, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, Teddy's awesome.
Yes, he is.
Well, yeah, Trevor. So I wanted to ask about the track this weekend and see if that was like, obviously the weather conditions made it what it was, and it had like the face of the jumps looked weird. It looked like somebody like threw like speckle on it. Like it was weird looking on the face of the jumps
On TV, yeah.
Yeah, it looked wild. I just wanted to know how, compared to other things that you've rode difficulty wise, where was this one and the last couple of laps, especially with you trying to push up into the top 20, how to kind of take us through the last couple of laps and how gnarly it was.
Yeah, those last couple laps of the second moto, I really felt the best. And the second moto, I feel like, was quite a bit better than the first. Just the lines were better, and I feel like I was flowing with the track pretty good. But, yeah, the ruts in the corners were pretty long, and coming out, there was, like, craters in them. So it was definitely different. Just a lot of kickers and stuff off the jumps. But the last probably 8 laps, I really turned it on and came through the pack pretty good. And what else? There was definitely still some mud out there in the second moto, but I mean, I liked it. I was cool with it.
Like literally everybody we've talked to or heard interviewed hated the track, and he's like, at the end of the track, at the end of the race, it was like, I loved it. It was great. It's maybe my new favorite rider.
I got one more for you. Just speaking of Ted Parks and TPJ, yeah, I think he does a lot of good stuff for the guys on his team. And he told me when his guys get in the top 20, he gives them the VP fuel for free. So he tries to give you guys a little bit of bonus type stuff. Just talk about the TPJ program, how he helps you out, what Ted does for you, and how much help that's been.
Yeah, Teddy, he'll do everything and anything he can to give back to us. And he always makes sure we're all set with gear and whatever else we need with fuel. And he cooks some very good ribs.
Yeah, yes.
So I enjoy being with Teddy, and he just does everything he can to make sure we're happy and keep us going.
Big heart, big passion for privateers. Yeah, him and his wife, Kathy, man, they kick butt. And yeah, really proud of you, Trevor. It's really been cool to get a chance to meet you a little bit. And how many more of these are you doing? Are you scheduled to do all of them?
Yeah, I'm going to try to do all of them. Washougal might be a little tough, but I'm going to try to do it.
Yeah, they're definitely not friendly to the privateers when they go from New York to Washougal. Right. That's just ridiculous. Right.
Well, I do want to give a shout out to Steve. I don't know how you say his last name exactly. Malbof. Yeah. Yeah, he reached out to me. It was really funny. I had a couple listeners in the last couple weeks say, hey, man, we'd really like to hear from some of these privateers that get no recognition. Maybe you can get some on. And we do that from time to time. And I think it was Monday morning, I literally opened the results sheet up to see who I might reach out to. And I'm talking 2 seconds later, I get this direct message from Steve saying that I need to reach out to you. I was like, well, there's my guy for this week. Perfect. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So really cool getting a chance to know you. Hope to see more progression from you and more success, man. Good luck. And yeah, awesome job.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Anytime, Trevor. If you need anything, man, just give me a shout and we'll see if we can help you out.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Trevor. Take care.
See ya.
Trevor Schmidt, brought to you tonight by FXR. He was in some fly racing, which we love the guys at fly racing also because he is riding for TPJ. But yeah, FXR tonight bringing you Trevor Schmidt. Good stuff. Yeah. I mean, that's impressive to be a kid that worked or went to school at public school, works during the winter, shoveling snow basically, and then he saved his money so he can go hit some of these nationals. I mean, it seems like maybe Doc could do that.
Well, that's what he's doing. He's working all summer long to save money to do ride Supercross.
Maybe TJ doesn't have to work 6 weeks on and home for 3 days and back for 6 weeks, and so that he can support.
Can I be politically incorrect again?
I guess.
Hadn't stopped you so far.
Yeah. Knock it out.
I was just thinking, like down here, we have like a lot of guys who come from Mexico and like they mow yards and stuff like that, like and that kind of work. I just wonder if all the guys from Canada like come across the border to plow snow because they're like better up there.
They're all about it.
That might be one of the dumbest things.
I think a lot of the Spanish heritage workers probably are up there too. They go wherever the work is.
I work with a lot of Hispanics and I work with a lot of Mexicans because they live in Mexico and work out in West Texas where we are. And I promise you, they're probably not going up there when it's snowing because they just
don't like the cold.
Oh no, not at all.
WUSA is your source for all things wheels. If you're looking for a complete set of wheels for your bike, we have something for every budget. If you want to use the same wheels used by Eli Tomac, Cooper Webb, Malcolm Stewart, Christian Craig, Chad Reed, Jeremy McGrath, just to name a few, visit WUSA.com. Use that promo code MotoXpod to get you a discount. Let's jump into real quick the Motul TJ's Tech Tip. Are you ready for that?
I am.
So Motul was founded in 1853. And their Shine and Go hot product is my go-to source for shining the bike up. I use the Shine and Go. It's got a great smell. and I use it under the fenders and on the plastic before I go ride, so that when I wash the bike, that stuff just slides right off, keeps it looking good, makes it nice and shiny. I love Shine and Go. How? What are your thoughts on Shine and Go? I know you have some.
I actually was a Motul guy way back in the day. Shine and Go was the thing. I didn't even know about SC1.
Never heard of it.
Other people talk about because
never heard of her.
Never heard of it.
And then no, hear me out. And then I've got to use I always use the Shine and Go. And then when I use the other product that I just named, like I was like, this is not as good. Like, why does it have the more known name? I guess
does it smell better?
Go is really
they both
really
smell
good.
really good. They have different smells, but they honestly both smell really good.
Yeah, that
like I'll use Shine and Go. Like I use it on my dash in my truck and stuff too.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's awesome. Shine and Go. ShopMotul.com. Vital 20 to receive 20% off of your order of $50 or more. So go get you some Motul products at ShopMotul.com. TJ's Tech Tip. Motul TJ's Tech Tip. What you got?
Motul, being an oil company, reminded me something that I was going over with this weekend. Excuse me, this week with somebody about brake fluid.
Was it this guy? Oh, wasn't this guy over here?
Wasn't this guy. About brake fluid.
Okay.
Just a tech tip, a shop tip. We'll call it this one, a
All
shop tip. When you buy brake fluid, buy the smallest bottles you can. Brake fluid is hydrophilic, which means it pulls water out of the air, especially in where we are where there's a lot of humidity. If you have a big giant bottle of brake fluid, once you open it, at that point in time, it starts drawing water into it and loses its high boiling point.
I have had my Motul brake fluid for probably 6 years.
So it's probably the idea would dot 3
Doesn't sound like it's good.
Probably not, yeah.
Like dot 3 has I forget its boiling point. Dot 4 is like 110 degrees higher than that. But as it absorbs water from the air, that brake fluid loses that high boiling point. And that's why you start getting spongy brakes and have that issues. So you need to flush your brakes regularly. And then when you buy brake fluid, don't buy the big bottle because it seems a little cheaper, because in the long run, it's going to cost you.
So would you say my smaller bottle of Motul that I've had for like 6 years is probably no good?
If it's been open, it's probably no good, especially if it's dot 3.
I think it's dot 4.
Dot 4 is a little not as bad, but it's also is a higher temperature.
Even
It's
if
probably
it's like
worse
sealed
than dot
really
3.
good?
Yeah, I mean, think about how humid. It's 65% humidity here.
Okay, this is probably going to sound really stupid.
No, that's fine.
Could you keep something like that, say, in like a refrigerator or something? Like, could you put it somewhere where it would?
Refrigerator has more moisture.
Yeah, I guess so. But
in a vacuum chamber.
So like you would need like a wine cellar with or a cigar thing. What are those called?
A
like
humidor
a
actually
humidor?
adds humidity.
That's the opposite. Okay, yeah. So okay, I'm going to play this for me.
Stop acting like an idiot. You're
not
an
at all.
idiot.
No, that's why we give these tech tips to be able to help people.
Yeah,
out.
I never knew that.
No, I didn't either.
I probably got an old dusty top bottle of brake fluid that I would just think I was. Yeah, I'm fixing my brakes today. And
I bled my brakes and left the cap off for overnight. Went, oh yeah. The next day, like, oh okay, I'll just put it back on. So
yeah,
all right,
good. No,
hey, I guess I'm gonna have to order some new Motul brake fluid. Good tech tip, TJ. Now you'll be gone for another month and a half, but so we'll go back to the Motul.
Wait, I'll be here for the show next week.
See, if he was here more often.
Oh, that's right.
No race.
Yeah, that's right. Y'all are not having a show.
If he was here more often, he probably would have given me a tech tip that could have saved me from detonating my bike.
No, they say you can't fix stupid.
Yeah, I don't think anybody needs the tech tip of tighten your drain plug.
No, okay, that's not what I was going to say.
Oh.
I was going to say, like, maybe he would have had a tech tip, like, oh, I do this because of this, and then maybe it would have spawned a thought where I would have, like, run through a checklist better.
Like, I'm confused on this, because I have heard of other people not tighten their drain plug. Like, you pull the plug, you drain the fluid.
You put it back.
I've
Once
explained
it drains,
the story.
do you just kind of do you just like put it in finger tight and like I'll get to it later?
That's exactly.
No, so what happened was
I get distracted.
I finger tightened it. Phone rang. Got on the phone. Probably talking to one of you idiots.
What me? I don't call you.
That's valid. But I got on the phone. It was like it wasn't even just hand tight. It was like I used the socket to tighten it. It just had a wrench attached to it.
You didn't torque it down.
Yeah,
basically.
I didn't torque it. And so it was good enough. I put 20, 30 minutes on the bike before I had backed out to where it was actually leaking oil. So I had it good enough, but not good enough.
Somebody else did that at Johnsonville recently. They came out with their brand new bike. I think it was
it was brand new?
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name. H&W Honda. Maybe you don't know him. It's a buddy of mine. I'm just totally blanking right now. Yeah, he brought his bike out.
The guy that has the track down here?
No. It doesn't matter. But yeah, he rode it and realized the plug fell out and started making a noise.
Oh,
yeah,
I now know that nightmare. It is absolutely horrid.
All right, let's jump to the Luxon emails. When it comes to triple clamps, suspension, and chassis parts, there's no comparison. Luxon MX makes the best parts you can buy. Luxon's advanced engineering background and techniques allow them to develop products that are unlike the rest. They're lighter and stronger with optimized stiffness to enhance your riding comfort and precision. LuxonMX.com. All orders of $100 or more ship free within the continental U.S. MotoXpod to save. Luxon's used by Muck-Off, FXR Club MX, Partzilla, PRMX, the guys like Cade Clayson, Mad Parts Kawasaki, privateers like Grant Harlan, Logan Carnow, all trust Luxon. You should too. Luxon emails. Keep getting a lot of these. Again, MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. That is our email. If you want to get involved with these, send us some emails. Send us your Pro X highs and lows. Send us your 60 picks for the next race. That's where you do it. MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. I've got a bunch of these, and very little of them are riding related. People just want to have random questions, and I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So let's start with this. This one is a little bit riding related. TJ, Scotty, our tracks, local tracks, are their practice and racing prices getting to be too much? $40 to $45 per class, $40 to practice. Do you feel like those rates are too high?
Well, we had a conversation earlier.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite tracks of all times, and it's literally not because of this, was $15 to race and $5 a person to get in the gate. And like they didn't. I mean, obviously they would go up. I mean, as time, but I'm just saying, it's like it doesn't need to be that expensive. And they always say, the track owners always say, and trust me, I ran a track for a long time, like all diesel prices go up. And so they raise their prices. Mm-hmm. But when the diesel or the fuel prices go back down, which they do, they never lower their prices. They just wait till the
standard with everything.
But the next hike comes in.
Yeah, they go up again.
Yeah, I mean, then they go up again. So,
but I look at like our friend Cole Johnson at Johnsonville MX. He's out there for 14, 15 hours getting the track prep for us, and he's watering the track while he's trying to ride in between during the day while we're there. You know, I mean, to me, I don't really want to go spend $45 to go ride, but is his time, if that's his time and his land, got to pay taxes on the property, et cetera, whatever all the overhead is. Maybe that's not too much. I don't know what it costs him. I don't know what that's what his time is worth to him.
Do you think that they would, like, it's like their mindset, and I have no clue. Mm-hmm. I love Cole and April. They're awesome, and they have a great track. But so this is not to them, but just track owners in general is, do you think that they say, well, I can make the same money with, 80 riders out there and have, or lower the price and get 200 riders and make the same money? It's
sort of like Supercross. They raise their prices. They have less people going, but they're still making more money because the higher prices at lower ticket sales quantities, they're still making more money. I see what you're asking. I don't know what the answer to that is. I mean,
I wonder if that's the thing.
There's more to it than just pricing, though, dude. Like, and I've seen it in
insurance.
I've seen it in other moto groups. I've seen it in our moto group. Dude, some of us vet riders, and I can probably be guilty of some of this, dude, we are so damn picky when it comes to trying to go to a track or this or that and the other. You lower the price, everybody goes out there, and now you have the guys getting on Facebook. Social media is a big part of this. It happens. I've seen it with the new job that I've had. I've seen it working at a restaurant. You get one bad review, or somebody blows you out on Facebook or Instagram or something, and they're like, oh, they shouldn't have it could be any scenario. It could be the one where there's too many people. It could be one where they didn't, they charged less, but they didn't prep the track as good because of that price. There's so many people that will complain and blow you out on Facebook that you have to find a medium ground to play to all these different sides of every person that's going to, not every rider is the same. And so you kind of have to do something like that to make sure where it's, it's equal feel for everybody.
Don't you think, though, the higher prices are creating such a barrier to entry for our sport, with bikes are already outrageous, everyth's already outrageous, that we're actually hurting ourselves? Like, I understand that, but when you don't have affordable practice, then a lot of guys don't want to race because the prices are high on top of that too. But like, there needs to be less of a barrier to entry.
Yeah.
into the sport.
There should be more public areas too to be able to ride and get used to riding.
It's difficult if you and your kid go race, or go practice, and it's $100, $200 to race, and you're getting 10 laps or whatever, and a little bit of practice. Yeah, that's in a race situation. Practice when it's open all day. Like I don't mind paying $40 for all day, but $45 to race for 10 laps, that's a lot.
But how many people do we know that are like pro practicers? You know what I mean? That's all they do is ride practice. Now, at first you're like, hey, it's no big deal. They just ride practice all the time. They never race. But in the long run, those people don't stay in the sport, and those people don't grow the sport too much. You know what I'm talking about? The racing, I think, is what actually grows the sport.
Yeah, I would I'm stuttering. I would like to see prices come down. Obviously, they're not going to. I went to that private track, Billadilla, a couple weeks ago, and that was like $60 to ride there.
Yeah.
The track was beautiful. It was perfect. It was one of the best tracks I've ever rode on. I couldn't do that every weekend.
No, but also I know theirs is weird because all the money they make,
it's all donated.
It's all donated.
Yeah, that's true. But it's $45 or $40 or whatever it is. It gets expensive, especially when you're riding as much as I am lately. If you're going 2-3 times a week, that'll wear you down.
Yeah,
pretty quick. So
it hurts.
But
at the same time, though, I've been playing a lot of golf and stuff, dude. The prices of golf courses is double to triple. What you pay. I mean, you still have to bring your own clubs, like you have to bring your own motorcycle, and you rent the cart. But even in places that you like, say you bring your own car, you're still paying way more, and you're not doing near damage to the facility that you are on a motocross track. And so it's it's high, but there's other things that are way higher.
Sure. Let's see. We got a couple more we'll look at. What is the first brand logo you think of when you think of classic moto? Does any brand stand out? Go ahead, TJ.
I don't want to upset any sponsors.
Yeah.
FMF.
That was my answer, but okay. I got another one then. What do you got, Scotty?
I think of that. I think of that old school fox with the actual fox in the middle.
You took both my answers.
But I mean, that's what you think.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. You took both my answers.
Extreme.
Well, that was a good one.
Yeah, or No Fear.
Yeah, I was still thinking about. I was thinking JT, like back in the days, like the old JT logo. I always liked that logo.
Dude, that's kind of a good point. I wish that there was, and I think the sport's kind of getting back to that now. A lot of fly gear has a lot of intricate stuff, and it's getting more. You can have a premium package where there's got more intricate stuff to it. But like, I've got one of my dad's old cotton '90s Fox jerseys.
Yeah.
But dude,
thick
like,
and heavy.
it's got like a thing. It's got like a little like expressions in here. Something about like riding hard or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
It's got like a little like it's like a special edition jersey where it's got like a little pistols here, and it says some little cool thing, and it's just got all this little trick stuff
cool.
to it.
I think Axo used to do some stuff like that.
Yeah, this was a Fox jersey.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just bought another truck. First thing I did is I stuck a FMF logo right over the blue oval.
Yep.
I mean, every Ford out there back in the day, and it's a moto person.
Yeah.
It's not just.
What sucks is the new Fords have bigger logos, and they don't make the FMF stickers that size.
Didn't like they start doing that like on purpose? Like they saw somebody do it on one, and then they marketing wise said, "Hey, we're gonna like make it a fit of Ford."
Yeah, I think that was little D.
But there's like you can see a Fox logo on the back of a truck, or No Fear from back in the day, and you don't know if it's a moto guy.
Yeah.
But if they have a Ford with the FMF logo, you're like, that dude rides dirt bikes.
All right, one more. Ricky Carmichael on the broadcast said, "I'd rather be the follower than the leader." I think that generally is true, but when you're racing. Where would you rather be, first or second?
First.
TJ? Yeah? No, you don't want to be behind kind of watching the lines and learning?
No, I'm not fast enough.
Scotty?
Yeah. Well, it's funny that Carmichael is saying that because like he didn't sit behind people very often.
Never.
Right.
He was going to go harder than you were to get in front of you. And so I think he was making a reference to more of like the times where he was like on the days that Stu had his number or was just as fast as him, or And what was crazy about Reed is sometimes Reed could be 30 seconds off of Carmichael, and then sometimes he could be faster than him. He had his days. So I think he was making that reference more into those scenarios where he knew that he wasn't just going to be able to gap him. He had to ride strategically. I think that's kind of what he was making more of the point of it. In that scenario, he'd rather be the follower so he can put pressure on the guy and make him make mistakes.
Well, this question is, what would you want to be?
What I want to be? Well, hey, sorry for making a good take on what clarifying what he was talking about.
He just gets so butthurt.
I know, all the time.
Oh yeah, and yeah, he doesn't.
Never.
Hey, he's in a lot better mood when I'm not here. Like maybe
Scott
you're nicer
is?
to him because you don't have somebody else.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, when it's all three of y'all, it's definitely I gotta like
all three of us.
You gotta be ready to fight.
Yeah, which
all
one?
Three of us.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
gets
he
All
said.
three of us and him. Yeah.
And him.
Yeah, but anyway, so I would. It just kind of depends. It's definitely like a lot more pressure riding in the front. Like I feel like I ride a little more tight when have somebody like right there pressuring me. But I also hate being like stuck behind somebody, knowing that I'm faster than them, and like you just can't quite make the pass. They're just fast enough where it's hard to get around them.
Yeah.
And I don't like getting hit with roost either. So I
That's
probably
the
go
worst.
with staying in the front.
That to me, I think I agree with you on that one. That's the worst, where the person in front of you, like you can catch them, but you're just not fast enough
get by 'em.
to get by them, and like you're like, I'll pump this dude if I could just get next to him, but you just
Dude,
can't.
yeah, there was a couple years ago I was riding like a 03 YZ250, and this was like 2019, and like I'm clearly do not have the same bike, and like I would get we would double gate with like the plus 50 like A and B, and those guys were just fast enough, dude. Like, and I'm on a 03 YZ250, and there's like a 250 pound, 260 pound guy just fast enough on a 450, and it's just destroying me with roost and stuff. And I've got that 250 ragged out trying to pass him. And it just it's
That was
hard.
him back in the day when me and you raced a lot, and I was on the 125, and that 125 just would not go, and you would just murder me coming out of the corners constantly. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't have a preference, I guess, because if I'm in the front, I'm like, oh, the guy behind me is faster, and I'm nervous. And if I'm behind, I'm like, I can't catch the guy in front of me. So either
if
one.
he's behind, he's like, I need to go back to the lower class.
Yeah, I need to be in the freaking novice class. This is ridiculous. That's the Luxon emails for this week. Again, motoxpodshow@gmail.com. Give us some questions. Send us some stuff. Let's talk. Let's get the conversations going. Let's get you guys involved. I like this stuff. I want the listener stuff involved. Let's see here. X-Brand forum check-in. X-Brand has quietly grown into one of the premier goggle choices available, using some of the most grueling conditions by the 2022 GNCC XC2 champion Lyndon Snodgrass, ATV Pro champion Bryson Neal, and many other GNCC riders, as well as some Supercross riders, including Hunter Lawrence and the Alpine Star goggles and the Mucka FXR Club MX Yamaha team with their factory ride goggles. Those are all X-Brand Lucids. Visit your local dealership. Ask for X-Brand, distributed through WPS. The X-Brand forum check-in this week is a topic that I saw entitled, Did Roczen expose Jet's quote-unquote next levelness? He doesn't say ness, but that's what I think he means. He says, not to be so next level, he came off the couch, Kenny, had the fastest lap times in practice and the second moto. Jet is very good and will only get better, but geez, they are shoving this next level generation talent down our throats. Like I said in another post, he reminds me of K-Dub without an RC. Time will tell if anyone steps up to be Jet's RC. Basically, the question is, though, did Roczen expose that Jet is maybe not so next level? I don't think so.
No, not at all.
No, I think Jet patiently waited.
Yep.
Kenny rode fantastic, but I don't think Jet ever was worried. He was cruising and kind of knew when he needed to go, and he went.
He didn't make that mistake. The first mistake he's made all year as soon as Kenny closed the gap on him.
I think he actually exposed Jet is more next level than I thought.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's kind of scary. You know, like I have this feeling, yes, I think Chase will be able to compete if Eli comes back as Eli, maybe so. But like Jet's just going to be the guy.
Yeah.
Unless some freak thing happens and we have a major injury, Jet's going to be the guy for a long time.
I think that we'll have guys that battle him, and I don't think that he's going to win everything.
No.
I don't think he'll beat Carmichael's. And even Carmichael said that he's on track to beat his record. I don't think he will. But
I don't know if I agree with that. I thought you were going to say, like, keep going undefeated and stuff, but
No, I don't think he'll beat Carmichael's record. It's just it's such a. I'm just saying, like he has to last long enough to do it, and then nobody has to come up.
I don't see any reason right now why he wouldn't. He's so young.
You're gonna have young guys. I mean, I'm gonna use this person and young, like Deegan coming up. Yeah, he could do that. I'm just saying the chances are he's not going to beat Carmichael's record, but I think that he is,
exceptional. Did he expose his? Did Roczen expose a weakness of any kind to you?
See, I think that we saw. I don't think necessarily exposing weakness was what I would use, but I definitely think that he made Jet have to go to a level that he hasn't had to go to yet.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So I think he definitely had to push a little more. That track is.
I keep interrupting. Go ahead.
Yeah, that track was very difficult to judge on because we had weather conditions that made it what it was, and it was definitely kind of like a survival day, and everybody was having problems. So I think that led to a lot of like the mistake and the crash that he had, and it was the first time that we saw him not get a good start, and so that was kind of interesting to see. So I definitely think that Kenny made him push to a new level, but I don't think it's like exposing him or anything. And I don't think guys like Anderson or Chase or stuff like that are sitting at home thinking that like, yeah, there's no way I could touch that. I think that's
another guy, Jason Anderson's coming back.
Yeah, I don't think I think Barsha's going to be more of like, yeah, let me at him kind of thing. Yeah. Like I don't think that those guys are going to like beat him. But I think that those guys are not. They're not thinking like, oh well, Jet's the next Carmichael. We're never going to touch him.
I don't either. And we saw Chase push him at Fox.
Yeah.
So
and Chase wasn't comfortable that day, and obviously wasn't feeling well. He had freaking mono. So
right.
I mean, I think that there's definitely going to be. But we're not going to see it this year because now that Jet has the points lead, he gets into a battle with Barsha or Sexton, whoever it is. He's just going to like he doesn't have to do it. He can take second because he's just trying to win a championship now. Like it'd be interesting to see in the next coming rounds how much the undefeated season means to him and see if he starts because you kind of like he could have chilled in that second moto and just stayed in second or third, but he kind of got to that point where he's like, you know what, I'm going for it. Yeah. I can easily, it's not going to be that hard for me to catch them. I'm just going to go ahead and take a little bit of that percentage risk increase because I want to get this race. So see how long he keeps trying to risk it to get the biscuit and see what happens.
Y'all think he's after that 22-0? Or do you think he's like, I'm at the moment
he was
now.
never going to admit it, but I think maybe.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I think he would like it, but I don't think it's. I do believe with the people in his corner, they know that's not that important. It's not the primary objective, but yeah, he would. I'm sure he would love to have that. Sure,
yeah, and then there'll probably be a part of him that if he does get second or third, it'll be like, okay, now I don't have to keep.
Takes that pressure off. Yep. 2 more segments. We're going to go into the Pro X highs and lows. Pro X is rooted in racing from motocross to off-road, supporting teams like Pro Circuit Kawasaki and Pro Yamaha and SLR Honda. Pro X has been dedicated to supplying quality components since 1975, from complex jobs like an engine rebuild to simple maintenance like filters, chains, and sprockets. Prox or Pro X aims to bridge the gap between OE and quality and affordability. Find Pro X at your local dealer or online retailer. Visit prox-usa.com and follow them on social media. I want to give a shout out once again to Shane Bagley, who sends in an email just about every week for these Pro X highs and lows. All you guys could do that, get involved. His high is Caden Braswell. Dude stopped during practice and picked Ryder D's bike off of him so he could get up.
Really?
That's a good dude. Yeah, they showed it during practice. It was pretty cool. Ryder was trapped under the bike. Caden,
I think he's a good dude.
Yeah, Caden stopped, leaned his bike up, and helped Ryder out. Very cool. That's a good dude. Competitive, but raised right. I will forever be a fan of his. Selfless act is where it's at. Just messed up my picture here. And his low, J. Coop. His wreck was gnarly, right in front of us. Because he was there. Right in front of us in the rollers. Took him forever to get up. No track staff was close, and he was just laying there. Hate seeing dudes go down. This sport is so crazy. I will mention, he said, again, he was at High Point. First time there. Hard to get into and out of because of traffic. 1 out of 10. Would not recommend.
Ooh. All right. It had to have been a slop fest, too.
Yeah, that might have been part of it. But Shane, thanks for being involved. Thanks for sending in emails and Pro X, Prox, highs and lows. I know, it's either or.
So do you think he was like jumping his rental car through ditches?
Oh no, I hope he wasn't. Like
like y'all did.
like JT Cooley and I had to do to get out of Redbud a couple years ago. Yep.
Oh, what?
At
Oh,
the
they just
first MX
trashed
of
the
Nations in
real
19,
car.
we couldn't get out of the parking lot because it was so much.
Yeah.
We were on. Thank God we were on a hill, and there was cars just stuck everywhere in the parking at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
So Cooley's like, we're just gunning it, and he floored it as we went down the hill, and we got to the bottom. We hit a hole, and the car. I don't know if it actually got airborne, but it certainly felt like it. And I think he ended up having like $3,000 worth of damage.
Yeah, he had to pay like $3,000.
Did he have the insurance?
They don't really do insurance like that anymore on rental cars. You put it on your own insurance.
Oh, okay.
But it was it was pretty trashed, and we had it covered in mud. We went and found a little place to wash it, but it was.
Did y'all crater the oil pan and stuff, or
No, I think it did some body damage.
body damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so Scotty, Pro X highs. What's your high?
My high was Kenny coming back and making it, for whatever it was worth, interesting. 7-2 for second overall. That's kind of crazy. So my high was Kenny's coming back on Father's Day. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Low, it's got to be the J Coop thing. Like, it's so random for that to happen, and the fact that we haven't. I'm gonna change my low because since he already had that.
Okay.
My low is gonna be what caused that to happen was the track conditions. The rain had to kind of be a factor in it, and I'm ready for us to get one just decent like track conditions because Paula and Hangtown.
Well, hopefully Redbud will be good.
Yeah, Paula's Paula. Hangtown clearly was a lot of people were complaining about it wasn't what it used to be or wasn't good or whatever the complaint was, and then Lakewood is a very treacherous track, and then High Point became one because of the weather. I just want to see kind of a normal weekend.
Mine, I gotta say, was my low was the same, I guess, as everybody, but I'll change it to Webb. Is just not. I mean, like what he's doing this year. I know he's coming back late, but I just expected more out of him. So I guess it's the low is his results, and it's kind of not just this weekend, but it's kind of starting to compound where, because I'm a Webb fan, and seeing him back there struggling, it does suck. But high was AC getting the podium.
That was a good one. That's what I had.
Yeah.
AC getting the podium for me, and Christian Craig injury he's not healing the way he thought and going to be down for a while. That's going to be my low. My Pro X highs and lows. Send yours in, MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. Last segment of the night, the 6D picks for Redbud. No show next week, no race this weekend. TJ, who's your podium for Redbud?
A podium or just winners?
No, podium. 450 podiums, 1 through 3.
Chase is tentatively coming back. Is there anybody else that's supposed to be back for Redbud?
I'm not positive right now because it's been. I think Jason might be back.
Jet, Chase, AC.
Okay,
that's interesting. I'm gonna go Jet, Chase, Ferrandis.
Oh, that's a good one.
Actually, you know what? F you, TJ. Chase, Jet, Ferrandis.
Either of those, yeah. Ferrandis is good there.
I'm changing mine because I had Jet, Chase, AC, just like you. So I'm going to go Jet, Chase, Cooper.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Yeah,
I think AC has just been building momentum, right? Am I the only one that's AC?
Yeah, I think he has. I think he's still struggling a little bit with the wrist or the arm and condition. But yeah, he's showing some signs.
What's funny though, as soon as we take AP out of that third place spot, he's going to go get third.
That should have been my low. I expected so much more out of him in the ruts.
He went down in the first race.
Jesus, he still didn't look very good.
That was
qualifying.
I texted you. I was like, hey, is there some kind of Twitter news that I missed? Like, what's going on?
Phil's bike blowing up. That could have been a low. I mean, it's a high because it's funny, but it's a low because
he made it. He got through the weekend.
Yeah.
They what was I going to say? But yeah, next weekend for AC, Redbud's never gets really that nasty.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we've been there
hot, but yeah.
We've been there during mud races. We've been there when it's, just a normal weekend. It doesn't get as treacherous as these other tracks do. So agreed.
I want to thank our listeners our listeners. Yes, I want to thank you guys. Please send your emails, criticisms, anything you want to MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. I want to thank our presenting sponsors, Racetech and Boyesen, as well as our other sponsors, including Pro X, X Brand, Guts Racing, FXR, 6D, Luxon, Motul, and WUSA. I want to thank Derek Drake and Trevor Schmidt for coming on. TJ, it was good seeing you. I guess we'll maybe in a couple months you'll be back again. Who knows? I will be heading to Southwick in a couple weeks. That'll be my next race. Now, not Redbud. Things have changed.
Doc may go to that one.
Oh, really?
Oh, can I ask a quick question?
Sure, why not? Is it going to be quick?
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
Now it's not because y'all won't.
I'll just mute your mic and hit the outro right in the middle of them talking.
Has Doc with the 450 class being like a little bit easier to get into? Has he like, man, I wish I had kind of like no.
No, he is working right now and he's trying to save money for Supercross.
Yeah, but so he hasn't like even had the inkling of a thought of like I could probably make it right now.
I mean, he probably thinks that, but I asked him if he wanted to go race when I was home. Like, hey, let's do this. I really want to go do Washougal, and he was
wasn't feeling it.
No. Well, fair enough.
All right, guys, no show next week. But send your emails, load those things up so we have more than enough to read. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.